Mind Fitness Doctor, medicine for your body, mind and soul, mindfulness-based yoga, coaching and therapy.
I appreciate all you guys joining me today. As I was saying before, that today's theme is on letting it be. So it's on the theme of mindfulness and using SOAR. So if any of you know acceptance and commitment-based therapy, it's kind of based on that. It's a model of therapy that has different parts of it based on mindfulness. And so yesterday we looked at, before last week we were looking at accessing our core values, and then yesterday we talked a little bit about how we can create space for our thoughts, because we always from our head up and kind of take away the thoughts that are always in front of our face and place them in our lap. They're never going to go away, but place them in our lap so that we can kind of get on with life without being caught and hooked by our thoughts. But so that was the letting go, and the letting it be is just the mindfulness today. So we're going to be looking at the concept of SOAR, coming into the present moment with our senses, observing them like a curious scientist, accepting them, and then releasing that cognitive diffusion. So hopefully that's not too much at this time in the morning. If you'd like to come, I might make myself here in Zoom, and then I will mute participants in Zoom. If you'd like to find your way either onto the floor or into a comfortable seated position. Knowing that today we are looking at that theme of mindfulness. So as you were saying yesterday, you can start with a pillow behind your back. You always don't go up far enough. And then lying down, then starting to put your hand out to the side, and it kind of opens up your heart. A nice way to start. We're doing healthy hips today, and the whole class is on your back, so even if you're in bed, you can probably do this in bed if you are wanting to do that. You've got absolute permission to do this in bed. No right way. So just letting go of the busyness of getting here, even though it's early in the morning. And letting go of your mental to-do list for the day. Giving yourself permission to let that dust settle. Coming into the here and now. Anchoring yourself into the present. Perhaps accessing that anchor of breath. Becoming aware of your breath wherever you may feel it. Maybe feeling that nourishing of the in-breath. Maybe placing your hands on your abdomen. Taking a deep and feeling your abdomen inflate like a balloon. And then letting go that breath as you breathe out. Feeling the nourishing breath from the trees that provide us oxygen. And then the easing and the letting go of the out breath with our gifts to the trees. Knowing that the in-breath is our yang breath, the out-breath is our yang breath, bringing that calming nervous system on board. Maybe now breathing in for 2. Breathing out for 4. Then bringing your attention to your heart space and perhaps accessing your values that you set for yourself for this 3-day stress reset. Maybe self-care, personal transformation, tranquility in nature, and then setting an intention for your practice today, a goal. Maybe it's to be curious about this further journey of finding out about Yin Yoga, being kind to yourself, coming into your body to cultivate the garden of your mind by letting it be. And then accessing that mind fitness skill, that inner resource that will help you do this goal. Maybe one of self-compassion, maybe one of curiosity, and then in your own time and when you're ready, if you're on your back, remaining on your back, we're going to target our hips today. So we're going to target our right glute. So just gently bending your knees. And then placing your right knee over your left knee. And that might be enough if you're feeling that stretch in your right kind of glute hip area, healthy hips, that might be enough. Or you may want to thread your hands through and interlace behind your left knee, pulling into what's called a reclined shoelace. You can also do this up a wall, or you could do it seated. So the lying down variation is probably a bit easier if you're just starting Yin Yoga. So the seated shoelace is bringing your left leg in and your right leg over the top, and then coming down over. I know there's some people that also know how to do pigeon or swan. So if that's a variation that you're wanting to do today, then feel free to do pigeon or swan. That is this one. So this illustrates that concept of functional yoga, functional Yin Yoga. I'll go back to the reclined shoelace for those of you who are in that one who may want to see me. In that I've given 3 different poses to get into the same essential target area. And then yesterday we were talking about finding our edge. So finding that edge, that first point of sensation in that stretch. And not pushing into overwhelm and pain, not pushing and striving, but feeling enough of a stretch so that you're in that zone of resilience. You're finding your comfort in your discomfort. A little bit like Goldilocks, not too much porridge, not too little porridge, but just enough. So finding your edge and having a little play, noting that sometimes the intensity can get a little bit stronger as we progress. So now accessing one last breath, then maybe releasing your hand from behind your knee, coming down, bringing your other foot to join it and extending yourself into that rebound or that relax in between. Maybe finding a blanket to cover yourself with. Probably I should have told you it's a good idea, like I have, is to have socks on because it is such a slow restorative practice. You can also find legs up the wall, or you can just put your legs out if you like. I saw Shanae doing that yesterday with her dog. It's just legs up with a pillow maybe underneath for support. So just finding any movement that suits you to release that posture, or just giving yourself permission to be. And so yesterday we talked about how we also, like our physical edge, we all have our emotional edges. And hopefully some of you may, I never really complete workbooks, so I know some people like to, but if some of you have found some insights maybe on journaling on your own emotional edge, and knowing that we can sometimes let go of that pushing and striving, which pushes us into overwhelm. And kind of our bodies are our best teachers, like just physically when we push the stretch, our muscles tense up and contract around us, and we can't actually push any further. It's like pushing our head against a wall. And so maybe just letting go with kindness, with our breath, creating space for our thoughts, diffusing from our thoughts, we can allow our body actually to open up and for our lives to actually flow and be more effective. And that's the concept of the letting go that we were looking at yesterday, and that concept of the first part of the pose, which is playing with your ease. Now, in your own time and when you're ready, just making your way to the left hip this time. So bringing your left ankle over your right knee, that may be enough. Or you're spreading your hands around your right knee and bringing it up. Or doing the seated shoelace or the swan. The seated shoelace now brings the left leg over the right leg and then coming down. So we're coming to the theme of today, which is letting it be. So it's that second part of the pose, which is resolving to be still. And so too often in poses we move and we fidget to either avoid discomfort or to crave ease. And so by resolving to be still, we sit with what is. We let it be. And in letting it be, we can become mindful. And we use our tool of SOAR to become mindful to the sensations of the twist. So perhaps looking at where your edge is, the sensations, becoming aware of the sensations with ease, which bring us into the present moment. And then observing it like a curious scientist. Has it got a shape? Or is it all over the place? Is it moving or is it still? Does it have a temperature? Observing it almost like an artist observes a piece of art on a canvas. And then allowing those sensations, maybe softening and soothing the edges with kindness. And then using those skills that we talked about before to create space for our thoughts, not to get rid of them, just to create space, release them, release judgments and thoughts. I'm noticing that I'm having the thought that this is going on for a long time. Or in your own time, and when you're ready, you may want to release that hip stretch and then come on down to either releasing that. You can release that by what's called windscreen wipers, so bringing your legs over to one side. Or you can bring yourself into a little ball, or you can just release and relax, giving yourself permission before your busy morning. So SOAR is like the wings of a bird. That's why I've got the kiriru behind me. I love the kiriru. And so the Buddha says that we need two wings. We need the wing of insight, and then we need the wing of compassion. And the bird, the vessel of that is our mindfulness. So our soar, the soaring of our birds. So S is coming to our senses, so using our feeling of our sensations or our hearing our sounds or taste or vision or smelling the roses. So you come into the present using your senses. So like watching that garden, letting it be. You observe that garden for all that it is, the birds and the bees, the plants, and then you allow it. You don't go in and fix it or move away, you allow it, you let it be. And you try to release that monkey mind that makes judgments and thoughts about the garden. SOAR, S coming to our senses, O observing like a curious scientist, A allowing, and R releasing. In your own time, and when you're ready, we're coming to the same spinal twist as we did yesterday. So bending your knees again, you may want to bring one leg straight and then bring the right knee over the left knee to a block or a bolster, or you may want to bend both knees, bringing them over to the side, or you may want to do twisted roots, bringing the right knee over the left knee, bringing it over to the side. You may need to find a block or a bolster, and then bringing your arms out to the side of your body. You may want to look over your right hand shoulder. You may want to bring your right hand up. That gets into that area that can sometimes be tense under that shoulder blade. So perhaps using SOAR. So feeling, coming to wherever you're feeling the twist today. You're feeling the sensation of the twist that brings us into the present moment. And then observing that sensation like a curious scientist, like you're observing a garden or a piece of art on a wall. Asking yourself, can you feel it in one place? Does it have a shape? Or is it diffuse? Is it moving or is it still? Is it hot or is it cold? And then allowing and accepting that sensation. Maybe softening round the sides with kindness. And then releasing any thoughts or judgments around what the sensation may mean to you. Soaring like a bird. Then in your own time, and when you're ready, perhaps bringing your hands back to the middle, Perhaps bringing your knees back up to the midline and extending your legs down for a mini Shavasana. So just as we use SOAR to observe our sensations, we can also use it to observe our emotions and our thoughts. Emotions are just sensations within our body. If you think of different times that you've experienced different emotions and where you feel it in your body. That's why there's that expression, butterflies in my stomach. Research has shown that if you use SOAR to observe your emotions, not getting caught into the thoughts and interpretations about what this emotion means to you, that these emotions can come and go within 90 seconds. You don't resist them. You just let them come, observe them, and let them go. We touch and go. It's when we fight them and resist them and interpret them and get fused with our thoughts that the emotions persist. Maybe having a little play with using SOAR to look at your emotions today. And when we use SOAR, we get out of our reactive habitual patterns, allowing us that space to respond rather than react. In your own time, and when you're ready, gently bending your knees, coming to the opposite side this time. Sorry, we're going over a little bit, 5 minutes over time. So either bringing one knee over to the left, both knees over to the left, or our left knee over our right knee and coming down. Sorry, to the right. What am I saying? The right. And then bringing your hands up, out to the side. You may want to look over that left shoulder. You may want to bring that left hand up to the top of your mat. Then I'm going to read a poem that is symbolic about how SOAR can help us respond rather than react. It's called Holes in Our Sidewalk. Holes in our Sidewalk. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost, I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes me a long time to get out. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. I walk down another street. In your own time, and when you're ready, just releasing that twist. Maybe bringing your legs back up to the midline. You're coming down to your final Shavasana. So making sure you're warm. You may want to use a pillow under your knees to release that lower back. It's actually quite hard to lie flat. And then coming to feeling your whole body being held by the floor and by the earth. Perhaps accessing your breath to anchor you into the present moment. Or hearing sounds around you, maybe the morning bird song. Then bringing your attention to your heart space. Becoming aware of the value that you're working on these 3 days. Maybe setting an intention to practice mindfulness in everyday living. So the workbook talks about maybe practicing mindfulness of toothbrushing or showering or washing dishes, just using SOAR to come into the present and observing what arises. Perhaps thinking of an activity that you could use SOAR with today. And then realizing your MindFitness inner resource of mindfulness. And then letting go of the sankalpa, coming to your relaxing body scan. Releasing and relaxing your feet, your lower legs, your knees, your thighs, just releasing and relaxing and letting go. And bringing your attention to your lower back. Bringing your attention up each of the vertebrae of your back. Releasing and relaxing and letting go. You can go under the shoulder blades, over the shoulders, down the arms, all the way to the fingertips, releasing and relaxing and letting go. Letting go of your abdomen, your upper chest, the front of your neck, the back of your neck, giving permission for that tension to be let go of, up over your scalp, down round the muscles of your face, relaxing and releasing and letting go. And then bringing your attention to your hands, bringing them together, creating some heaps. Maybe placing them over your hands, over your face, feeling that soothing, calming effect. And then opening your fingers and opening your eyes into your fingers, bringing yourself back into the present moment. And then perhaps moving to one side and thinking maybe about one thing that you're grateful for, just an invitation. And then bringing yourself, if you want to, you can keep on lying down if you'd like to. Bringing ourselves back up to a comfortable seated position to finish with a serenity prayer. May I accept the things I cannot change. May I have courage to change the things I can. And may I gain the wisdom to know the difference. May we accept the things we cannot change. May we have courage to change the things we can. And may we gain the wisdom to know the difference. My wish for you today is that you find peace, calm, and clarity while you're practicing your SOAR and mindfulness. Namaste. I'm just going to see, Leah, anybody in Facebook, and I'll come back. Yeah. Okay. I can see people. I've got Facebook up, so if anybody wants to say anything and feel welcome, then otherwise I'll go back to Zoom. Sorry, I went over a little bit. I think there's a bit of a lag in Facebook anyway. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining